This program contains true stories of rescues. All of the 911 calls you will hear are real. Whenever possible, the actual people involved have helped us reconstruct the events as they happened.
In an emergency, when a life can be lost in a matter of seconds, it often seems to take forever for help to arrive. I'm William Shatner. Tonight, true stories of terror, tragedy, and triumph on Rescue 911. We begin in 1912, as a legendary performer was about to begin his act high above the streets of Philadelphia.
Mike Rosso's idol was Harry Houdini, probably the greatest escape artist in the world. And Mike just wanted to kind of be Harry Houdini. We were the Punchline, a stand-up comedy club. What we're trying to accomplish is to let people know that we had swapped over the club to a different format.
Yeah, got great weather for it, though.
Manager Mark Hudgens wanted an attention-getting way to let people know the club would now be presenting magic as well.
At that point, we were approached by Mike Rosso, who said that he would like to do a stunt out front in the same lines as Harry Houdini.
Magician Howard Flint had known and performed with Mike for several years.
We came here on the opening week, and Michael said, yes, come in and do the close-up magic, Howard, and I'm going to be doing the straitjacket escape upside down from a burning rope. During the performance, my job was to count down the remaining time that Michael had to get out of the straitjacket before the rope burned through. About a half an hour before the actual performance, Michael would go out, take a piece of rope, light that, and hang and pull and twist every way he could to pull on it, find out what the burn time was. Generally about 4 minutes, as I recall. He had timed getting out of the straitjacket, since he had done it many times, to the point that he figured he could do that in about 1.5 to 2 minutes. That's why he was convinced that everything was fine.
September 22nd, 1989 was Mike's fourth performance of the escape that week.
We told all the people that they could exit the room, go out and watch this death-defying stunt that Mike Rosso was going to perform, and then they could come back in and watch the show.
How you doing? Yeah! All right.
Michael, at this point, said, hi, I'm Mike Rosso. I'm here to entertain you. I need 2 volunteers to help tie me into this straitjacket.
Okay, what is your name?
Jay.
Jay, and your name?
Jamie.
He always used volunteers. These were not stooges that put him in a special straitjacket. Each individual hand buckled him into it. He was trussed up very, very tightly. That's the way he wanted it. That way there's no collusion on anyone's part. He's really taking a chance. As soon as Michael was strapped into the jacket, the fluid was applied to the burn rope, and the lighter was put to it. At that point, it burned as it had been before, just a circle of flame.
Drive my head. As soon as my head is clear of the cement, then you guys can let go.
Okay. When we got to about 30 or 40 feet high above the ground, the winds aloft were a lot higher than they were on the ground. And what was normally a small burn now turned into a flag of fire. It was burning faster than we'd ever seen it. I was entranced. I wasn't paying attention to the audience. I was looking at Michael. I didn't give the count at that point. I still don't know why. I just started walking forward underneath him. And when the flames were really roaring, I started to turn to the crane operator to say, bring him down.
A bystander ran to the club office to get help.
I knew we needed 911 more than I needed to go out there.
Call 911. The rope broke on Mike out there. You better get out there quick.
We have emergency 911.
When we continue,
I didn't know what was going on with Michael, if he would make it or not. I was afraid he wouldn't. My thoughts were that this boy is gone.
Rescue 911. Sponsored by Pepto-Bismol. For most common stomach discomforts, the one that coats is the only one you need.
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just one dose of Pepto-Bismol helps relieve an upset stomach. As it coats, Pepto starts to work on contact. Pepto-Bismol, the one that coats, is the only one you need.
Hey, did you stop using your medicated shampoo?
Not with my dandruff.
But your hair feels so nice. I didn't think your shampoo could do that.
Really?
Used to be, treating persistent dandruff could leave you with medicated hair. Introducing intensive treatment. It helps protect your hair while it fights persistent dandruff with the most effective medicine you can buy.
Honey, let's not talk about my dandruff problem, okay?
What problem?
New Head & Shoulders intensive treatment. Tough on dandruff without medicated hair.
Magician Mike Rosso was performing an escape trick he had done dozens of times before when the rope snapped, sending him plunging headfirst 40 feet to the pavement below.
Mike, you all right?
I'd heard a rather sickening thump, and when I had gotten up and looked at him, his eyes were closed, and he started to moan and gag a little bit. It was a death rattle sound. I'd heard it before. I worked on ambulance before, years ago when I was in school, and it scared me.
Paramedic Jeff Harcum was already in the field.
The call was dispatched as a person down injured in a fall, and it gave the address of the North Lake Punchline. It's kind of a coincidence we were passing the intersection where the actual scene of this accident took place when the call was dispatched by the communication center.
Say something, Mike.
I knew it was bad. I didn't know how bad. I was hoping Michael had just been stunned, unconscious, because he did knock me down. And I thought, all right, this is my buddy. Let's have him get up. Come on, Michael. Talk to me. Mike, you're going to be okay. Get up. There was no reaction except this gurgling death rattle sound.
From the time I notified my communications operator that my unit was going to handle the call to the time that we arrived on the scene was less than a minute. We had a minute response time. I noticed that the patient was lying on his left side, was bleeding moderately from his head, was unconscious, exhibiting a decorticate posturing, as if he were in a fetal type position, which is indicative of a severe head injury in that type of patient.
Give us a little bit of room, folks. Come on.
Just seeing him at that point put in my mind, with all my training and experience that I've gained, that this patient did not have a good chance of surviving this incident.
Let's go. Folks, get out of our way. Come on.
If he had hit the parking lot head first, I don't think he would have survived. I think he would have died instantly. I think the assistant, the way he deflected him or tried to catch him, lessened his injuries.
Okay, Mike, you're doing all right now.
By breaking Mike's fall, Howard may have saved his life.
I didn't know what was going on with Michael, if he would make it or not. I was afraid he wouldn't. My thoughts were that this boy is gone.
Mike was transported to the nearest trauma center, where neurosurgeon Stephen Jacobs was on call.
The patient on my initial examination was not brain dead, but he was as close to being brain dead as one could possibly be.
Scotty, let's give him another 250 cc's of mannitol when he gets inside.
And at the time, I did not think he was going to survive.
Michael's sister remembers that night.
Being that I was the first family member there, the doctor came in and told me that a little bit about Michael and how he was doing, and that he was going to need to do surgery and implant something in his head to monitor the brain as soon as possible.
Okay, give me the self-retaining retractor.
The immediate concern is to reduce the amount of brain swelling because that is the cause of death in this situation.
The internal monitoring device was used along with medication to help control the amount of pressure building up within his brain.
Okay.
All his family could do was wait and hope.
First time I saw Michael after he fell, I don't know what I really expected to see, but what I saw was devastating.
Michael we saw there was not my brother. It was, somebody who was laying there had no life.
He was in a deep coma. His girlfriend joined the family's bedside vigil.
I couldn't handle it. I mean, I just took one look at him. I said, I've got to get out of here. I've got to get out of here.
You still couldn't believe it. You know, it's hard to accept that one minute they're there and the next minute they could be gone.
There was always the question in my mind, and probably still will be, had I done the right thing? Was this man going to lay there like that for the rest of his life because I tried to save him? Was he going to die because I didn't try hard enough? I just had no answers for that.
For a number of days and weeks after the patient's injury, the patient remained in a coma. Somewhere along the third week, I went in to see him in the morning, and I gave him a nudge or a pinch on the chest. I had been doing this every morning since the time of admission and gotten no response. And on this particular day, he opened his eyes, and I was just thrilled.
Dr. Jacobs walked out and he had this big smile on his face. And he says, "By damn, Faye, I think the boy's gonna make it."
Through extensive therapy, Michael has relearned how to do many of the things he once took for granted.
At this point, I think the prognosis for Michael's recovery is excellent. It has now been 6 or 7 months since the injury, and I would say that Michael is over 90% recovered. And I fully expect him to make a 100% recovery.
Everybody let me know who wants a piece of watermelon. All right, Mike.
As of right now, Mike is still, personality-wise, still very childlike. According to what the doctors and the therapists have told us, is that this is a matter of retraining.
During that process, what we're actually having to do is watch him grow up again.
Gina Bowman had been Michael's girlfriend at the time of the accident.
I still don't know what's going to happen between her and Michael. Just a couple of weeks before the accident, Mike had finally asked her to marry him. And then just so short of a time later, to not even remember her.
Every now and then, I feel sad that it might have changed me for the rest of my life. But each day when I wake up and the regular me is back, I smile and I say, thank you, body, thank you, brain, because I'm getting better.
I've told him, that I'm here for him. I'll be his best friend, his pal, his confidant. I'm just thankful he's here and that I get this opportunity, because at one point I didn't think I was going to have that opportunity.
Please welcome Mike Rosso.
The magic that almost killed Michael has emerged as the strongest force in helping him to rebuild his life.
When I asked to go back and do the show at the hospital, I started the show by saying this was my thank you To all the nurses and doctor and people who helped me, it was my thank you.
This is a special rope because it's not one rope, it's one long piece of rope, one medium piece of rope, and one short piece of rope.
Michael will get back into magic. That's his first love. He loves magic. He loves performing. He's a great technician. He's a damn fine performer. And I'm waiting to see him get totally recovered.
When you pull them apart, they're all the same now. It was short, medium, and long.
For Michael to be where he is right now is nothing short of a miracle. In fact, I almost feel like I have no right to ask for any more of a recovery. For us to ask for more almost sounds like we're being greedy.
Pick any card you want.
He's always been a perfectionist. And now it's even more important to him to be able to come back and show everybody that he's as good as he ever was. And he strives for it. He practices, and he's going to do it.
I see it. It's there, behind your ear.
I knew if the fall didn't kill him, then he was going to make it. There was no doubt in my mind that he was going to make it. And I just knew this was going to be his greatest escape he had ever had to attempt.
Next.
She was having problems with him and constantly trying to come over and talk to her.
Today, beautiful lashes have a way of staying that way. Anti-smudge mascara from CoverGirl. Rich, beautiful color that's very anti-smudge. Standout definition that's very, very smudge-proof. So your lashes stay positively beautiful all day. Anti-smudge mascara.
It doesn't mess around.
CoverGirl, redefining beautiful.
When you rinse first with Plax, normal everyday brushing takes on a whole new meaning. Plax, clinically proven to remove more plaque than brushing alone.
You know, some folks think low price is the most important thing at Meineke Discount Mufflers. Well, price is important, but not nearly as important as service and quality. Truth is, at Meineke, nothing is unimportant.
We went over this at the meeting. Show me my secret. No, that's not the same thing.
I'm an insensitive lout.
We can change that.
Well, I recognize that because of your...
I'm sorry, what?
Whatever, your pH thing. Because you're a woman, you know. You're a rare...
Wonderful.
Wonderful woman.
You bet.
A woman.
Secret. Strong enough for a man, but pH balanced for a woman.
Did he kill his wife, shoot himself, and call 911 as an alibi? The shocking truth behind the Charles Stewart murders. Ken Olin, Good Night, Sweet Wife. Next. Why would an innocent man confess to murder?
You think we got the wrong guy?
Now, Jake has to track the real killer before time runs out. On Jake and the Fat Man. Then.
Are you the least bit afraid of what might happen to you? I don't think that I said that. Won't you talk to me?
Where did these come from?
Mike Wallace, Then and Now, Wednesday on CBS.
Want to feel good about yourself? Show your friends you really care about them? Offer to be a designated driver. You drive and you don't drink. Be a friend for life.
On June 16th, 1989, Susan Penner put her 7-year-old son and 9-year-old daughter to bed and went to sleep herself, never imagining that a phone call in the middle of the night would force her to confront her past.
You hear about the cycle of violence with abusive spouses, and I think there was something that must have really attracted my sister to him initially, and then she just got hooked.
Got a big day tomorrow, another day of school. Yeah.
I just heard like that he pushed her down a few times and that kind of thing. I know it was an on-again, off-again relationship. Of course, he was a children's father, and I feel that she probably wanted to keep part of that relationship alive and going for the kids' sake, feeling that they needed both a mom and a dad.
Mom.
She was having problems with him constantly trying to come over and talk to her.
He threatened her over and over and over again.
She didn't, at that point, want anything to do with him. She just wanted to be left alone.
He'd been making threatening phone calls all night.
More than likely, he had been drinking.
She was praying to God that he wouldn't come and hurt her. And then she drifted off to sleep.
At 2:54 a.m., a call came in to Christina Osborne.
Operator, help me, please. What's the problem? He's gonna knock down my door. He's gonna kill me. He's gonna have 5 of them at home. He's gonna knock down my door. Listen to you. Calm down. He said no. He said... Calm down. Who is he? At Bobby Stewart. Is he a boyfriend, a husband, or what? My children's father. What's his address?
I motioned to the dispatcher to get officers rolling there.
Male and female 415, male half with a gun, female screaming, trying to get...
I'd heard 4 or 5 shots in the background. I thought she was dead.
Hello?
I heard a horrifying breathing come back on the phone.
Ma'am? Can you hear me? Are you okay? I've been shot. You've been shot? Okay. We've got help on the way, okay? Stay on the line with me. You got firemen?
We need another unit to head that way. Apparently now we've heard 11 6s on the phone. 3210.
I had no idea how severe her wounds were. If she was going to live, I was praying that she wouldn't go into shock to the point where she couldn't talk to me. It was real important that we knew as much as we could find out before entering the house so that we could get in and help her.
Where did he go? He's still there, hon? Okay. Can you... I know it's real hard for you to talk to me. Can you give me his name? Did he go back to bed? I've been shot. Don't tell the baby that, honey. What? Listen to me. Don't tell the children that, okay? Just stay on the phone with me and talk to me, okay? Do you know where you were shot at? Hon, listen to me. My legs are killing me. What? My legs are killing me. Okay, where were you shot at, you know? My legs. You were shot in the leg? Yeah. Okay. Can you give me a description of him real fast? Is he white male? Like what? Okay, listen to me, hon. Is he white male? Yeah. Okay, how tall is he? 6'1". Okay, what's your name? Susan, you're doing an excellent job. Please help me. Honey, we're on the way, okay? Do you know what he was wearing? I think he's still at jeans and a shirt. He's gonna shoot me again. He's in the house? Okay, she believes that he possibly may still be in there. Okay, one more. Okay, listen to me. We're on the way. We're on the way, okay? Help is on the way.
For units responding, the suspect still is inside of your WN 6'1" in jeans.
One of the police officers closest to the scene was Nancy Amos.
As the information kept coming in, I started trying to get a better picture of the complex, where the apartment is, possible exits for the suspect to get out of. You have to work with what you have and what you're getting, because you don't know what you're going into.
Do we have any vehicle description?
Honey, we're on the way, okay? Where are your children at? I think she went back in the bedroom. Okay, listen to me. What type of car does he drive? Do you know? Big blue truck. A blue truck? Okay, do you know what type of truck? Chevy. A Chevy?
The vehicle to the suspect I'm speaking is a blue Chevy truck.
Where are you at in the house right now? You're in your bedroom? Okay. Where do you think he may be? He might have left. He may have left. He'd shoot me some more if he wasn't gone, probably.
Okay. We're confirming the suspect's still inside. Apparently she's hiding in the back bedroom. He's not sure if he's still there now.
How many shots did he fire? 3 or 4. He shot 3 or 4? Okay, how many hit you? I don't know. I'm afraid to look. Okay, don't look. Don't look.
I was her only source of help at that time. I knew I had to calm her down.
Okay, and listen to me, okay? I knew this was gonna happen. Okay, Susan, you're doing an outstanding job, okay?
By this time, several of the officers had arrived at the complex. We didn't really still know at that time if the suspect was in the apartment or not. We had been contacted by somebody in the parking lot saying that they think that the suspect had left. Even though you still receive that information, you don't know how genuine it is. It could be a setup. So you still stay on your toes and keep an alert.
Ready? Go, Echo, please! Set. Echo, please!
I'm back here.
She still was on the phone at the time.
My kids are in the other bedroom. Susan, who are you talking to? A cop. Are you sure?
She definitely was in pain. And at that point, the main concern is to get medical help to that person.
Once the scene was secured, paramedics were allowed to approach.
I kept her on the phone with me until the paramedics got in there.
Oh, be careful.
I had built a bond with Susan on the phone.
Okay. Oh, God, if I see blood, it's going to hurt. Susan. Just let him check and don't look, okay? Can I call my parents now? Just calm down, okay? And let him check, all right? I can't hear you anymore.
Once I hung up the phone, I was real shaky inside, not knowing if she was going to be okay. Even though I'd never met her, I felt like I was her friend.
At the trauma center, Susan was treated for 4 gunshot wounds to her legs. 2 hours after the shooting, her children's father turned himself in. He pleaded guilty to assault with a deadly weapon and was sentenced to 7 years in prison.
Brandon, everything's going to be okay. Okay, you understand?
1 year after the attack, Susan has completely recovered from the bullet wounds. She and her 2 children have also found the strength to get help in healing their family.
Right now, we're just trying to work on getting ourselves straightened out. The more we go to counseling, the more I see what this has done to my kids, you know?
It's real hard. I trusted him then. I don't want him to ever come back here. He used to hurt me and stuff, and it scared me. I'm worried that my dad's gonna come back and shoot her again.
I think Susan's a very courageous woman. She's fighting right now for her rights. No human being has the right to do that to another human being, whether it's beating them up, shooting them, verbally abusing them. Women need to know that they don't have to take this.
There's a lot of people out there that are more than willing to help. And if it means you have to pick up 911 to start it, as in Susan's case, then that's what you've got to do.
I had people who cared about me, starting at the 911 phone call. I don't think I've ever needed anybody more than that.
For help in dealing with a domestic violence situation, call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-333-SAFE. Next.
Here I had a child dangling from my arms. I didn't know how much longer I was going to be able to hold on.
When we made Heinz Homestyle gravy, we used a homemade recipe like yours.
Oh, really?
Real beef juices just like yours.
Oh, yeah? But where are the lumps? Oh, no.
Heinz Homestyle gravy, so close to homemade.
Introducing Glade Plug-ins Air Freshener. It keeps
on freshening. And freshening.
And freshening.
Plug it in, plug it in. New Glade Plug-ins freshens for 30 days. Plug it in, plug it in. Gently, constantly warms this refill cartridge for a full 30 days.
Freshens 30 days, freshens out of your way. Plug it in, plug it
it in. After 30 days, just pop in a refill. Try Glade plug-ins and plug into 30-day freshness. Plug it in.
A drug dealer's attempted escape leads to a freak accident.
I thought I was dying.
And a cop's life is on the line in Top Cops at a special day and time, Thursday.
Word is spreading fast.
Flash was great. It was awesome.
It was fantastic.
I would say it was 2 thumbs up.
America has a new hero.
Oh, he's gorgeous.
There's no stopping him.
I think it was better than Batman.
Cosby Show, The Simpsons, you're out. Catch the new superpower on Thursday, The Flash, at a special time.
This is CBS.
Okay, Mouth, prepare to be happy. Will it be corn checks or rice checks?
Those are my rice checks.
Speaking of mouths, here's Big Mouth.
Hey, Dweeb, check it out. It says now they're toastier. Maybe they put them in little tiny toasters. Pop.
It's happening. I can feel it. I wonder.
What do you think you're doing?
Making my mouth twice as happy.
Make your mouth happy with toastier rice checks and corn checks. Your mouth will love them.
I'm a park ranger. It's my job to protect the trees, the wildlife, and all parklands for all Californians. That's why the California State Park Rangers Association asks you to vote yes on Proposition 130. Logging companies are cutting down our giant 2,000-year-old redwoods as fast as they can, and now there are only 5% left. So the Audubon Society and the Sierra Club, with major funding from H.L. Arbit and environmental groups, ask you to vote yes on Proposition 130. Let's save that last 5%.
Saddam Hussein's videotaped message to the American people on Nightcast at 11.
Late in January of 1990, Chris and Kevin Bailey finally got a chance to take their 5 children on the ski trip they'd always dreamed of at a resort near their home in Ogden, Utah.
We've always wanted to learn to ski together as a family. So I took off work and we loaded in the car and all went up to the ski resort.
My husband wasn't able to go the week before, and so I was excited for Daddy to see what his kids could do. You know, he had heard all these fun things and how the children could ski so good and how the boys went off jumps, and it was just an exciting time.
Skiing is a dangerous sport. You hear every day of people getting hurt, but it's so darn much fun, it's hard to not go.
We had got our passes and proceeded down to the line. A couple of our children had already gone up. My husband was directly in front of me with my friend Colleen. We got into the lift. The gentleman helped me, and there wasn't anybody on Angela's side. But I thought, well, we've done it before, she'll be fine. And she got in, and her little butt just didn't get in the seat. And I thought I could pull her in, and the gentleman, I guess he didn't see that she didn't get in the seat. And we just kept going.
I was heading away from the loading area when I heard the screaming.
18-year-old Sean Durant, a ski resort employee, went to see if he could help.
Hold on! Hold on!
I immediately turned around and said to the other lift operator I was working with to stop the lift so we could kind of evaluate the situation. I realized that she was, too far up in the air for me to catch her, to have her jump. There's too much danger involved with it.
I should have let go of her right at the bottom. But Mother's instinct was she'd get hurt. And the longer I held on, the higher we got, until we was a good 40 feet in the air. It's just the most helpless feeling. I mean, having your daughter hang from your arm and know that you're the one that's going to determine if she's going to be hurt or not. I don't know, it's the most helpless feeling that a parent ever could feel.
Hold on to Mommy's boot, Ange. Hold on to Mommy's boot.
Angie cried for help. I remember her saying one time, "Daddy, I'm going to fall." It tore my heart out, There was nothing I could do. There was absolutely nothing that I could do to help.
Family friend Colleen Kais was on the same chairlift.
When I saw Angela hanging there, my heart just broke. I mean, that must be terrifying to a child, let alone a mother that's hanging on for dear life. I don't think anyone knew what to do. I mean, it's a situation where somebody has to risk their own life to save this little girl.
I could feel the stitches on the snowsuit ripping. And I could tell that I only had one strap left. I mean, here I had a child dangling from my arms. I didn't know how much longer I was going to be able to hold on.
I had realized that there were stairways on the lift towers. I just kind of put two and two together. And I just told the other guy I was working with to start the lift until it went up to the tower.
Hold on now, get a grip, okay? Oh, that's good. Whoa, no, stop the chair.
I don't think he could see exactly where the chair was at. And by the time he stopped the lift, the chair had gone past the tower. I climbed up the stairs. I actually only remember seeing 2 steps on the whole stairway. I didn't think of anything. I knew what I was doing. I knew what my intentions were, and nothing else went through my mind.
Kevin could see Sean climbing the tower.
My daughter's life was in the balance. It was somewhat of a comfort to know that there was someone that was physically able to help.
I felt this boy must have either a lot of guts and no fear, or he must be acting out of love for other people. I didn't know this boy. Why would he risk his life to save Angela?
When Sean scooped up Angela, we just kind of hugged, and I thanked him, and I don't think you can have enough love for a person who's risked their life for your life.
When I saw him lift Angie up into the chair and saw her little behind snuggled into the chair, that's when I knew everything was okay. I don't know that there's many people that would do what Sean did. I think it's a real act of selfless love, if you will. I think he's a very courageous young man.
I sat there for a minute going, you know, I can't believe I did this. And I had to take moments to take a long breath and kind of relax after what I'd done. It's an awesome experience.
When we got up at the top of the lift, I don't really remember getting off. I do remember standing with our skis off the chairlift. And I remember crying and hugging my husband.
We all hugged each other, and Chris kind of fell to pieces. I think that's when the realization of what had happened really hit Chris.
My friend, Colleen, looked at me and she said, "Christy, settle down." She says, "Remember, your little girl's watching you." And so we kind of settled down, and I said, "Angie, you want to go skiing?" And she said, "Yeah." We talked as we went down the mountain, and she looked at me and she said, "Mom, I don't want to get on that chairlift again." And I said, "Honey, neither do I. So we'll do it together. We'll get on that lift together."
And we had to go in the lift, and my mom said my grandpa fell off of the horse, and he had to get right back on it.
Some people in this life are watchers. They sit and watch. And there's people who are doers. And thank heavens that Sean is a doer.
I like Sean because he's neat.
To save someone's life is probably one of the best experiences you can have, because you have that to fall back on the rest of your life. to know that you did something worthwhile in your lifetime.
Next.
And you could see her trying to hang on with her front paws, but there was like no strength in her grip. She was going to sleep, and she was letting loose.
Ford, profiles in quality, employee involvement.
If you're working together, you do a better job. I said that back in '82, and the quality of our cars and trucks is proof that it's working today.
Money alone won't build quality cars. You've got to have better designs.
Better designs don't mean a thing, unless engineering can live up to the designs.
Engineering works only when everyone is committed to quality.
Our goal is to build the highest quality cars and trucks in the world.
At Ford, Mercury, and Lincoln, quality is job one.
Did you know that more moms and pops, mothers and daughters, fathers and sons, all kinds of businesses look to AT&T for accurate billing, immediate credit for misdialed calls, an operator when you need one.
This is Clancy & Sons. Your piano's on its way.
All at extremely competitive prices. In fact, businesses use AT&T more often than all other long-distance companies combined. Quality service, competitive price. Another AT&T advantage.
La coupe
La sleek
is la fashion.
La bang bang.
For la hair.
La douce. La coupe.
La coupe hair care.
This is the sound of Unisom, the sound of sleep. With Unisom, you hit your pillow and fall asleep fast. Tonight, you can sleep more soundly with Unisom, America's #1 sleep aid.
Dad. Oh, you forgot your toothbrush. Couldn't you just borrow a toothbrush from one of the other guests?
Don't take chances. With Holiday Inn's Forget Something program, if you forget anything like a toothbrush, we'll give you one free. Because we know that little things can make a big difference.
Think you're in luck.
The Forget Something program at Holiday Inn.
All right, it's Dealer's Choice 5-card stud, and all black men are wild.
It's the season's one resoundingly great show, Evening Shade, Friday.
Hi, and here are tonight's winning numbers in the CBS Kmart Get Ready giveaway. Match the first 2 numbers in order, and you won a 3rd prize. 3 numbers are 2nd prize. All 4 numbers are 1st prize. Match 4 in a row when it says grand prize. You know what you won? A gold MasterCard with $250,000. You'll catch another winning number tomorrow in the same place you'll find me on Lenny. So get ready.
Most of the footage in this story was taped in Albuquerque, New Mexico, beginning on August 14th, 1989, shortly after Lenore Gottlieb woke up.
I went to the back door, and I looked out. I said to my daughter, Mara, there's a bear in the backyard. And she didn't believe me. She said, Mom, what did you say? And I said, there's a bear in the backyard.
Good morning, Animal Control Center. May I help you?
At 7 a.m., a call came into the Animal Control Center reporting a bear sighting. Worried about the dangers of a wild bear in the middle of suburbia, Animal Control and police officers were dispatched to the bear's last known location.
The chase proceeded back and forth through the neighborhood, in and out of backyards, across streets.
That animal was very, very agile, very powerful animal. They could climb over any wall that was there.
We'd lose her for a while and then we'd spot her again. At one point, she was running along in front of me, kind of just looking over her shoulder at me, and really didn't appear to be too bothered by me at all. And my first thought was, you know, why am I chasing this bear? What am I going to do if this bear stops? She finally climbed up onto a roof of a house.
Department of Game and Fish Officer Richard Size was also sent to help with the capture.
My first concern was for the safety and welfare of people that were gathering around and seeing that the bear was not going to be injured. I had already prepared a dart for the tranquilizer gun and shot the bear while it was on the roof of the house.
After the dart went into the bear, we were able to keep good track of the bear at long distances. We did not want to razz the bear in any way, shape, or form. We just wanted it to calm down and let the drug take effect.
She's, yeah, I see her. Get her. There it is. So come this way. Now be in traffic. Bring over the fence. Okay, let's go straight up.
And the one thing I was noticing that the drug was not taking effect.
Various officials chased the bear through the city for more than 2 hours.
She finally got to a point where there was a real high wall that she couldn't get over, and we had her blocked on 3 sides, and it was natural instinct. She went up the pole.
I pulled up probably within seconds after it hit the pole. We had a very, very dangerous situation there. We had a mother bear who had been chased all over the city for a good 2.5 hours, and she was sitting on top of an electric pole, and at any time she could be electrocuted. Our idea was to try to keep her on top, as far on top as we could, until we could get the power turned off.
Officials feared the bear might come in contact with a live transformer, so an emergency call was placed to the power company.
Public service may help you.
To turn off power is not really all that easy. There was 12,470 volts running through that line. If we just turn the power off, we could turn hospitals off, we could turn police departments off. We were trying to locate where can we turn the power off without affecting a large block of the public.
More and more people started to filter in and getting closer and closer to the bear. Our job, too, was to make sure that no one was going to be hurt.
At 9:30 a.m., Richard Size caught up with the bear again.
These animals are large carnivores, and their natural behavior is to be afraid of humans. However, when they're in a strange situation where they are trying to get away from humans, there could be some conflicts and potential for injury to both the bears and the humans.
We weren't sure if electricity could ever be cut off because of the size of this electrical equipment. Officer Sice then had to make a decision, which I do concur with.
I felt it would be best to bring that chase to an end as soon as possible. My experiences with darting bears up trees or poles before in the past has been that they will go to sleep perched up on the pole or the tree that they are in when we dart them. Then we have to worry about going up and getting them down. I never dreamed at the time that I was looking up at that bear and deciding to pull the trigger that the outcome would be what actually did happen.
We knew it took a long time for the drug to take effect. We figured we had quite a bit of time. Within minutes, the bear started to become groggy.
She turned around and started trying to come down the pole, and you could see her trying to hang on with her front paws, but there was no strength in her grip. She was going to sleep, and she was letting loose. The transformer blew her off of the pole, maybe 30 or 40 feet above the ground.
That was probably the worst thing that could happen, and as fate would have it, it did happen.
It hurt quite a bit. We had put a lot of effort into trying to take her in a good, healthy state. We knew she was in very bad shape.
The critically injured bear was taken to the local zoo for treatment under the care of veterinarian Brett Snyder.
There was a real concern on our part of whether attempting to save this bear would really prolong its suffering or whether it was going to had a chance to really make a recovery. We didn't know if she was even going to survive. By having it under pain medication, we were able to find the bear could walk, could get up and walk in a limited way, and it was eating. It's taking a few bites of food. So then we decided to start our hands-on examinations. The bear was starved out. It was very thin. There were no obvious fractures, no broken bones. And at this point is when we discovered the extent of the burns on the back of both hind legs. The skin was destroyed and the underlying muscle tissue was just burned and destroyed very deep into the legs.
Just down the hall from the injured female was a young cub who had wandered into Albuquerque the day before. Officials suspected that the adult female bear had come into town to find a lost cub. Game and Fish Officer Scott Brown was looking after both bears.
The next few days after we captured this particular female, we had several other bears wander into town. And so we weren't really sure which one was the mother of this cub.
A long-term drought was forcing wildlife into the city for water.
Our first step was to take the cub in a cage and place it right next to the room where the injured mother bear was in, and to watch their reaction.
Mama's over this way.
And the cub began to, there's no other way to describe it, but bawl. And at first the mother would stay across the room. And then eventually the mother would come up and sit right next to the door. And the two of them would be where they could smell each other, where they could see each other, and to a certain extent where they could feel each other because the cub was reaching out through the bars of the cage. And we said, we think we've got the right mother and the right cub and we can put them together.
But the reunion would have to wait. The mother was still in critical condition, too weak to care for a cub. 2 months later, they finally felt she was strong enough to be reunited with her baby.
But there was still a long ways to go to get them back in the wild where they came from. Every day there was slight improvements over the day before. She was coming back in the face of these very serious wounds. Just by looking at her, you could see she was getting stronger, eating strong, moving better. Bears are tough, damn animals, and they're going to come back if any animal can do it. All she needed was time.
By October, the bear had healed enough to be moved to an outdoor compound for the winter. Mother and cub were strictly isolated from humans to maintain their natural wildness. 8 months after their capture, both bears were sedated for one last time for their trip back to the wild.
I think as far as her physical well-being, she's strong enough. She can climb trees, moves around, she has normal behavior. She's very lucky, I think, that she could take that kind of a shock and walk away from it.
Sleep in there for a while? Yeah, we'll get our hour.
Both bears were tagged, and the mother was fitted with a radio collar so they could be tracked after their release.
The next thing is going to be, will the release be a success? Will she go back and mind her own business and become a bear? And that's still the big question.
The bears were taken to a secluded area in the mountains above Albuquerque. Only a handful of people were invited to witness what officials hoped would be the bears' last contact with humans. Game and Fish Officer Richard Size got the chance to set them free.
Ready.
Wildlife and people have to interact in some way at some time. And unfortunately, when that interaction, when that conflict happens, too many times it's a wildlife that gets the short end of the stick. We had a situation that had turned basically into our worst nightmare. And now we could say
that the nightmare is over. And I only wish that everybody that showed concern for that bear, that everybody that heard about the bear and felt some kind of loss when it was injured the way that it was injured, could experience in that same victory, that same feeling of accomplishment, and that same feeling that all right, something's back free and wild and forever.
Mercury Sable, its looks aren't the only thing that'll stop you. All this and the quality of a Mercury.
It's new. Speed Stick deodorant now has its most powerful combination of ingredients ever. Its stronger new formula delivers more defense against odor. It has no alcohol. Its protection doesn't fade. Speed Stick, new stronger formula.
My first bout with a yeast infection taught me to use Vagisil to stop the itching, burning symptoms instantly. I saw my gynecologist about the infection, but Vagisil cream relieved the burning and the itching. And if Vagisil can relieve the itch of a yeast infection, Vagisil cream can stop any minor feminine itching instantly.
For feminine moisture problems, I trust Vagisil powder. Vagisil absorbs moisture, absorbs odor, helps keep you dry, odor-free. Vagisil feminine powder.
This year's most critically acclaimed movie, Goodfellas. Stunning, David Ansen, Newsweek. Powerful, Joel Siegel. Dynamite, Gene Shalit. The best mob movie ever, Roger Ebert. Goodfellas, rated R. Now playing.
We all depend on the quick thinking and bravery of professional rescuers to help us when we're most in need. This series is dedicated to all the men and women who risk their lives to save the lives of others. I'm William Shatner. Join us again next week for more true stories on Rescue 911.
A crime that shocked the nation. A man shoots his pregnant wife, then turns the gun on himself to create the perfect alibi. You watched it on the evening news. Now CBS presents a powerful motion picture that reveals the untold story. Good Night, Sweet Wife, a murder in Boston, next.